Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit True Off My Chest and it's by user Divorced Throwaway ACC. My ex divorced me and now wants to be together again after 4 years. Throwaway since I don't want to be linked back to my main account. I'm 46 female and my husband is 45. We were college sweethearts and married at 26. Right before we got married, I gave birth to a beautiful daughter who's now 21 years old. I loved both of them dearly, and we'd been a happy family for about 16 years before everything went downhill. Our only problem was my ex's mother. She always had a strong dislike for me. She never thought I was good enough for her baby boy. We had many fights, and my ex cut contact with her after the wedding when she tried wearing white to it. We had many encounters with her years after that, sending us gifts for my daughter and purposely trying to get us to contact her again to see her outside our house. 4 years ago, I got home from work to see my ex and his mom together on the couch. My ex was on the verge of tears, yelling and calling me a cheater. I tried to explain I didn't, but his mother supposedly had proof, saying she saw me with another man out in a restaurant together. I'm very faithful and loyal, but he refused to hear me out. We got into a big argument before he packed up and left to stay with his mother. When my daughter got home from a friend's house, she too started to blame me when she found out from her dad. She went to live with her dad while he sent out divorce papers. It took about a year before it was finalized. He got custody of her and I was granted visitation rights, but she never wanted to see me. It took a long time to move on. I sought therapy and fell into a huge depression. I knew my ex's mother made it up to tear us apart. I can't believe he listened to her so carelessly. I don't blame my daughter, but it still hurts. I moved out of the house to allow my ex and my daughter to live there. I ended up moving to a small apartment. It's been 4 years and I started to finally be happy again. I made new friends, we had so much fun and I got a promotion at work. I still missed my family, my daughter, but I couldn't do anything about it. 2 days ago, my daughter called me. It's been 4 years since I've last seen or heard from her. She said that my ex's mother admitted to lying. She said that my ex got a new girlfriend and his mother was furious, claiming he shouldn't have won after all the trouble she went through to get rid of me. They got into a heated fight before he kicked his mom out. I nearly wanted to cry. I thought she would never admit it, and now I'm hearing this news from my daughter. She asked to meet up and apologized so many times. I told her we could meet tomorrow. Yesterday, I met her at a restaurant, but she brought along my ex, something she never mentioned, nor had I agreed upon. He was apologizing, saying how much he missed me and that he dumped his girlfriend. He wanted us to be together again. I excused myself and left them there. I got back home to lots of phone calls from my daughter and text messages from her. She wanted us to talk and she called me an a-hole for leaving. I told her I wasn't comfortable and that she needed to understand. I had to mute my phone and put it down for a bit. I haven't responded yet. I'm not sure what to do. I love her, but I can't talk to her with him there. Not yet anyway. It feels so fast. I wanted to do it one-on-one. I'm deeply hurt and crying as I'm typing this. I don't know what to do. Wow, OP, your ex-mother-in-law is a horrible person, apart from being a manipulative see you next Tuesday. But I guess happy accident that your ex got a girlfriend and she tripped up and exposed herself? I don't know, doesn't really matter, the truth is out, that's what's important. Now, regarding your daughter, I find it kind of funny that she's the one calling you an a-hole considering this whole thing. And the fact that you were supposed to just meet her and she blindsided you with your ex. Not cool. So here's what I would do if I was in your shoes. I would send her an email or a message or a short call to tell her that I do want to see her, I do want to reestablish a relationship with her, but it has to be in time and one-on-one. And then I'd wait until she'd agreed. And regarding your husband, sure, manipulative mom's strings run long, but he should have known better. He shouldn't have taken her word at face value and not even talked to you about it. And what do you guys think about this whole situation? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Holo Shell says, I think it's worth noting that they still aren't believing you. They're only believing what dear old grandma, dog, has to say. It took her coming clean to clear your name when it was her word against yours to begin with. So it's not that they're believing you now, it's that they're still believing anything she says, and they're not listening to you. Especially your daughter with her ambush tactics with your ex. I'm not saying never make peace with him, but I think that it's entirely reasonable to never get back together with your ex. And to have a cautious relationship with your daughter. Doubly so, now she stabbed you twice. Once with believing the dog, and once with this ambush dinner. Aterakel says, lol, why are they acting as if they're doing you a favor or forgiving you for something you didn't do? And cool, let's get back together. Are they serious? A sarcastic werecat says, first of all, take all the time you need. You don't have to follow their timeline. It's perfectly alright to write back, please give me some time and space to work through everything. I'll contact you when I'm ready. And then mute them. You could also contact a therapist or a counselor to have an impartial person to talk to, or friends you know to be clear-headed. You don't have to go through this alone, and you don't have to react immediately. By the way, your daughter is stomping over your boundaries. She didn't tell you that your ex would be there, thus setting you up for an ambush. You might have chosen not to meet her had you known that your ex would be present. She withheld that information and took that choice away. You left, understandably, because you were overwhelmed, and she is calling you an a-hole and bombarding you with texts? Sorry, that behavior is unacceptable, regardless of her motivation. Both she and your ex seem to think that they can snap their fingers and they can just start where everyone left off, with you immediately forgetting the past and the hurt you've endured. You should be your first priority because they won't make you their first priority. So please take care and make sure that you make use of your support network. Please feel hugged and I wish you all the best. And OP responds, I really appreciate seeing this. You're right, she crossed boundaries and done some pretty stupid decisions. Emotions are running high and it may take a bit for things to calm down. I'm preparing a text to send to my daughter about going no contact unless she apologizes and handles it like an adult. I'm willing to hear her side, but not her acting like a jerk or involving anyone besides herself. I also contacted my therapist and I'll be seeing her on Wednesday. Until then, I probably won't have an update unless something happens with the messages. I'm still really heartbroken and I'm scared about how she is going to react to my message. I have my friends and my parents who are on my side if anything happens. They don't know where I live anyway, so I know I'm safe and I can take my time. OP's edit. I did not expect this post to start blowing up. I appreciate the love and support. However, I didn't make it clear about my daughter's custody. Her opinion mattered in court since she was 17 during the divorce. Although the divorce was about me allegedly cheating, my ex and I agreed to keep that apart from the actual divorcing process. Split what we needed to split and let our daughter choose who she wanted to be with. She wanted to live with her dad, and I agreed. She was strongly adamant about not seeing me, so I allowed my ex to have full custody, leaving me with visitations. Not only that, I needed to find an apartment. I had to move out of the house. I was living from couch to couch in my relatives' homes. I didn't have space for her, and my ex mentioned it in court. It was the main reason why she was granted to stay with her father. I was under stress, and I was not mentally well. I signed off my rights. I looked like a mess in court too. There was also a lot more going on during that time. OP's short-term update. I'm crying again. I went to text my daughter about boundaries and building trust again, and she said there was someone else involved without my knowledge during the divorce. My ex's mother got into another fight over the phone with him earlier today and admitted to paying an ex-friend, someone she was fond of, to lie directly in my husband's face and say he was the one I cheated on with. He did it for money. My daughter basically gave me silent treatment during the divorce, so she never told me. Neither did my mom's ex for obvious reasons. Now, why wouldn't my ex mention it? Because he thought I would just deny it, which I would since I didn't do it. I bet he was so confident in himself too. I hate them both, like mother like son apparently. I can't believe I loved him. He didn't even try to hear my side. I even tried giving my phone to prove my text messages were innocent and he went, nope, I got a verbal confession from said ex-friend, but I won't tell you because communication does not exist. I am beyond furious. Who does that? Pay someone to purposely cause a strain on a healthy relationship? Absolutely ridiculous. Oh wow, this thing just got really messy. So your mother-in-law paid out an ex-friend of yours to lie to your husband about your affair? Yeah, that woman is evil. Anyways, OP gave us one update, and then 3 hours after the update, the daughter wrote her own post. So let's move on with OP's update, but before that, I gotta show you another playlist like this one that only has videos with updates on them. Now let's move on to OP's update. Hi. Within the past 2 days, a lot of stuff came out, and I'm beat. First of all, thank you for the support and advice. There were so many, but I decided to follow the ones I thought fit best for me and my daughter. So, in my original post, I commented on an update about how my ex's mom paid off an ex-friend of ours to lie directly in my ex-husband's face, claiming to be my affair partner. Mind you, I never cheated in the first place. My ex took that as solid evidence and divorced me because of it. His mother is a master manipulator and had him around her finger throughout his childhood, so I'm not surprised why he'd take her side. Now, he didn't know that the confession was fake until a few days ago. I wasn't even aware of the entire thing for 4 years. I'm still really saddened, but everything makes sense. I was so mad at him for leaving me over her word, but it was much more than that. Besides that, I decided to give my daughter another chance. She will not know where I live or any personal information to indicate where I am. I am keeping low contact with her. I don't want her spreading it to her father or other people. I'll only show up during important events, graduation, weddings, etc. I know my ex-husband will also attend. If that's the case, then so be it. Then I asked my daughter to put her father on the phone. He, of course, apologized so many times and hoped we could have another chance as well. He said he'd do anything to make it up and that he loves me. I said no. I explained that I was keeping the no contact with him and that I was heartbroken when he didn't communicate with me about the cheating allegations and only assumed. That I was practically homeless for a short time and needed to see a therapist to help me move on. That I wanted to be left alone and I'm currently not interested in another relationship. Then, I gave him a new email in case of emergencies directly involving our daughter. Anything else, I will discard. That was the only time I spoke to him in the past 2 days. I've been talking to my daughter, setting boundaries and whatnot. She gave small updates about what was going on with her side. They went no contact with my ex's mother, so that's good. I told her never to contact that woman again. She also apologized for her behavior at the restaurant and that it won't happen again. I understand that emotions were running high and everyone was tense. I forgave her, I still really love her, mistakes can happen. Now, a lot of you said to sue my ex's mother. I spoke to my therapist about it earlier today. She said it wasn't wise to do so. It'll put more emotional distress on me and I might have to see her again and may relapse into a depressive state. I really don't want to do that. I don't want anything to do with that woman again. All I want is to focus on myself and on my daughter. I want to rebuild our relationship and it will be ruined if I do something drastic as suing my ex's mother. I won't be pressing charges unless something else happens to the point where police are involved. That would be different. Other than that, I'm taking a break. My daughter can text me anytime she wants, but I did say that I may not always reply since I want to remain low contact as of now. Thank you so much for the support and love. I can't express how grateful I am. I'm sorry I haven't replied to any of the comments. There was so much and it was very overwhelming. This may be my last ever post on this account unless something happens in the near future. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Extended update from OP's comments. I'm going to be friendly with my ex regardless of the situation, but still no contact. The only possible times I'll ever see him is if our daughter has a dire emergency, like life or death, injuries, hospital, police involvement, or money, or we're both attending one of her events. I made it clear that I will straight up ignore him except for a greeting. I don't want it being redirected from my daughter. She comes first and he knows that. She was manipulated by a narcissist and her dad, who is a victim of his mother's abuse for 4 years. I'm sure she had gotten her language from that. I never once heard those words out of her mouth before the divorce. I'm giving her a chance. I had known and loved her for 17 years. Her actions that day were influenced by her father. She was 17. She thought I cheated and her grandma paid someone to convince her dad that I had an affair. I can't even imagine what she has been through for the past 4 years. I'm still rightly upset at him for not believing me after knowing her and our ex-friend's abusive history. But manipulation is manipulation. She took advantage of him, she abused him. It's a tricky and stressful situation. I can't forgive my ex since he did make dumb decisions, but he is a victim. Same with my daughter. Same with me. It hurts. Well, good for you, OP. Considering it's your daughter, the fact that you set up these very strict boundaries, I think are really gonna help you guys properly rebuild your relationship in time. So here's wishing you both all the best in the future. Now, as you probably saw on the thumbnail, there is another part of this story that comes from the daughter. So let's finish this video with the daughter's post. This post is also from the subreddit True of My Chest, and it's by user ItherDekuna. Side note, this account belongs to OP's daughter's friend, not OP's daughter. My mom posted about her divorce with dad because of his mom. I'm their daughter. My mom recently made 2 posts about our family under the title, "My ex divorced me and now he wants to be together again after 4 years. I'm their 21-year-old daughter and I'm going to explain my side of things. Yes, I have been given permission from my mom to post this. There were a lot of things she neglected to say on her part. This is how I interpreted what happened on my side since y'all are quick to blame. So here's my side of the story. 5 years ago when I was 16, my dad called me. He said he was at his mom's house and that I needed to pack my things so he could pick me up. He told me that my mom had cheated on him and now he was going to divorce her. So I did exactly as I was told. I was really mad at mom for doing such a thing. I thought they were inseparable. I was surprised. I thought they loved each other, and when mom was accused of cheating, I resented her. I yelled at her. I called her really hurtful things that I regret saying. I left to stay with dad. The entire time, I refused to talk to mom during the divorce. I really hated her. I truly did. During that time, I was with my dad and my grandma. I met my mom a couple of times and my mom openly hated on my grandma. I didn't know why. She seemed sweet and supportive, helping my dad get through. She brought me presents and let me live under her roof. She was a stereotypical loving grandma. Then mom ended up moving out so we can have the place back. In court, I favored my dad's side and it was approved. I refused to contact my mom. It was like she didn't even try to fight to be with me. I was still really angry at her. Dad was crying on some days. He was really stressed and saddened. She did too. But I thought it was the guilt of being caught and having nowhere to go and being divorced as a consequence. There were a few times where I wanted to call her, shout at her, hate her. I didn't. For the next 4 years, it was me, dad, and grandma who occasionally visited. She showered me with gifts, always expressing how she finally got to meet her grandbaby. She spoiled me. Dad was still sad for like 3-ish years before meeting another woman and they started dating. That's when everything turned upside down. He and grandma would start getting into fights about the new girlfriend. She would threaten to harm herself and call him a pathetic excuse of a son. She knocked stuff over and constantly broke things when she didn't get what she wanted. She even threatened to hurt me sometimes and steal things away from me. Dad hardly ever brought his girlfriend over because of her. Grandma kept visiting almost daily. She was super obsessed with dad and the new girl. Now, repeat that for 5 months straight until she snapped. Another fight, then she confessed. I was in the other room when she screamed about how she did everything to get mom away from him so she could have him all to herself, and now the new girlfriend is stealing him away. That's when I decided to call mom to tell her what happened. I was scared. The next day, we agreed to meet at the restaurant. I told dad about it afterward and he insisted on coming with me. I wasn't sure at first, but he convinced me to let him come. He was desperate and even broke up with his girlfriend over the phone, so I brought him with me. I didn't tell mom, and when she came and saw us, she was uncomfortable and left after dad was practically begging on his knees. I ended up calling her an a-hole. I was stressed and overwhelmed. I blurted out something I didn't mean. I get why she left. There is no excuse for my behavior. I started spam calling her and texting her constantly, trying to get a response from her. Some messages weren't nice. I was not thinking properly. Dad was bawling and started saying some depressing thoughts about how he hated himself and that he wished he was gone. I panicked. What am I supposed to do? The next morning, Grandma came to the house while Mom was sending me long-ass paragraphs but wanting to have a relationship again but needing boundaries. The two were arguing downstairs until Grandma admitted to fabricating the affair confession. She paid someone $500 to tell Dad his wife was cheating on him and he was the affair partner. So obviously, I texted Mom about it while Dad kicked her out, screaming that he never wanted to see her again and that it was all her fault. For the next day and a half, Mom and I communicated with each other. I apologized to her for my recent behavior. It was super uncalled for and I do really regret saying those things. At one point, I gave my phone to Dad so the two can talk privately with each other. Mom wants to keep low contact, which I agreed to. Dad was upset that she wouldn't take him back. I learned Mom is seeing a therapist and went to see her earlier today. I haven't seen Grandma since Dad kicked her out. He has been saying she's been trying to call and text him every hour. And yes, I'm still living with Dad. I'm in community college, it's only a half hour away, so I'm staying home. I came across Mom's Reddit post on TikTok like 3 times. There are some comments about me that I'm really upset about. Do y'all not understand abuse victims? I had to put up with my dad's constant depressing behavior and my grandma's gaslighting and love bombing tactics. I'm happy to be in contact with my mom. I never contacted her before because my grandma said negative things about her. I thought Mom was the controlling one. She wasn't at all. I regret my choices and I'm willing to fix them, and she is willing to give me a chance. We're doing family therapy once she's ready for it. I'm doing everything she asks me to do. I'm aware I effed up badly. My mom and dad should remain no contact forever. Just looking between the two, it feels unhealthy as of now. I know my mom will make a mistake if she takes him back. I know Grandma will return, and I know my dad will crack. He hasn't been himself for years and she's finally starting to become happy again without us. It's for the best. I'm lucky to have some contact with her. She really is a forgiving person. I won't hurt my mom again. She wants low contact, she gets low contact. I'll only message her for important dates. And that's the daughter's post basically confirming everything OP told us, but from her perspective. Now, in the comment section, OP's daughter was getting bashed and all of her responses, which were basically repeats of the post, were all getting downvoted to oblivion. So here's another question for you guys. What do you think about the daughter's post? And about how she called out everyone who would make bad comments about her on TikTok? Let me know in the comment section. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.